Alright, so I was having a hard time sleeping. I haven't made a video in a while. And I'll start with that first, just really quick. I made a lot of predictions all the way up until several months ago. I made a lot of predictions about what's going to happen. My argument for why we'll actually, instead of seeing a blue wave, we're actually going to see a red wave. And I wanted to kind of let some of that pan out. Especially, it's real easy for a person to say something and then cherry pick and look through the news and find articles that support the things that they've said. And I kind of wanted to let everything kind of sink in. I want to let everything play out so that I can look back and say I was either right or wrong. And I do believe a lot of it, especially in the Department of Rhetoric, and how dangerous the things that Democrats are saying are playing out, and we're seeing that now. Anyways, gonna make one tonight. Couldn't sleep, so I made some coffee, got some nicotine, and we're gonna talk about some idiots tonight. Here we've got we're looking at tweets about birthright citizenship, because that's the big deal right now on Twitter. Everybody's crying about it. Look at the first idiot. Well, first I'll go over my position on birthright citizenship. End it. Should have been ended a long time ago. I've thought this since before Donald Trump was president, before he was even announcing his candidacy. I think birthright citizenship is idiotic. It sends the message to other countries like, oh yeah, just sneak over our border, plop out your kid, because now it creates a problem for Republicans that want to deal with, immigration and have you deported. Because now the Democrats get up on stage and go, yeah, but what about their children? We gotta think about their children, man. And it's just an excuse, because now that person's got a pathway to citizenship, can't deport them, because then you're splitting up families. It's creating this huge mess. And one way or the other, the issue's got to be solved. It's not fair on our officers on the border, and it's not fair to the people that are, the women that are killed and raped, or the gang members from MS-13 that come in and, prey on these young people to try to force them to just do a little research of your own. Don't go and please. If you're some psychotic liberal who honestly believes that MS-13 is just a gang and that they're humans too, just like the rest of us, and they deserve to be treated with dignity, go do independent research. Don't look at crap written by MSNBC and CNN about they're just a gang, they're waylaid youths. In a way, they are. But it's a lot more complicated and nuanced than just saying they're just a gang. And the reason I say that is because if you look at their method of operation, just look it up. But if you look at their method of operation, they prey on young kids, and they'll do crap like they'll follow them every single day and they'll beat the crap out of them until they join. They'll rape and murder their families, and there's nobody here to protect them because it's flooded with them, and people are scared. People are scared to report these incidents. And it boggles my mind because feminists, feminazis, and all those cucks over on the left are like, women are the reason why the rape statistic is actually higher is because women are afraid to report the crime. But then you say, oh yeah, that okay, cool. I'll take your word on that. By the way, the same thing happens for illegal immigrants. Or immigrants to this country. They're afraid to report the crime because there's so many of MS-13 and other gangs from Latin America threatening them, and they're afraid of retaliation. So we need to really work on getting those criminals out of here. Did you hear Trump? He said they are not human. They're not. If you can rape and torture and murder somebody, you're not human. You're a sick fuck. You're sick in the head. You can go out and rape somebody, and you think that's cool, or that elevates your status as on the streets and that you're some hero to your gang. You're a sick fuck. You're not human. And if it were up to me, these people would be put in front of firing squads and just done away with. Too many people on the planet anyway. Get rid of them. So, I think birthright citizenship is detrimental. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be clearly defined what it means. Because see, now what we're about to go through and read is this whole legal debate with the right and the left. Is it legal to end birthright citizenship? Is it illegal to end birthright citizenship? What constitutes a citizen? What constitutes, if that person's born here, are they a citizen? Blah, 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 blah. There's too many, it's not, as you'll see, the Democrats want you to believe, it's not, they'll tell you it's settled by the 14th Amendment. But then you'll go through and read what some of these people are actually saying and realize that they're saying the same thing that conservatives are. And it's that it's not settled. Anyways, sorry about that. My phone started dying there. But they're actually far from settled. And, we're going to look at that now. And then we'll go into why I think each one of these people is stupid. So let's talk about Ziggy Daddy here. If Republicans appear to be willing to amend the 14th Amendment, why is the Second Amendment off limits? The Second Amendment is off limits because it is the amendment that gives us the right to protect our other amendments. Right? And I do honestly believe that we should go in and amend the Second Amendment to clarify that all guns are protected. Rifles, pistols, shotguns, our guns are protected. Doesn't matter if this was written so long ago. It needs to just go ahead and clarify that for you psychos out there that think that we should just take guns away from people and that that's going to solve the problem, because it won't. And the fact remains that if you want to look at it, if people want to kill people, people want to hurt people, they'll do it. Whether it's through fertilizer bombs, pipe bombs, knives. Look at Great Britain, all the way down to renting a van and plowing it through a crowd of people. If people want to hurt people, they're going to do it. And no amount of legislation is going to stop people from hurting people, massively, en masse. There's all the time. There's people in China, like you'll see, 56 dead in mass stabbing attack. It happens all the time. So it's going to be like London, ban knives too, because that worked real well. Because just after they banned knives in London, that guy went on the damn machete attack, and was beating on homie's car with a machete. That's fundamental. There's a difference between clarifying an obscure amendment that doesn't do a good enough job explaining what constitutes a citizen and saying we need to ban a whole class of firearms in the United States because it worked so well for France and it worked so well for the UK and Germany. It's working out real well for them. So, nice try. I'm sure these 16 people think you're real fucking smart and all, but it's a dumb analogy. It's just dumb. Clarification and stripping the right altogether are two totally different things. Calling for clarification on what constitutes, in the 14th Amendment, what constitutes a citizen of our country. And clarifying that is totally different than stripping that away altogether and say like, oh, nobody's a citizen now. Get rid of the 14th Amendment. Give the country back to the Native Americans, man. Who's theirs first anyway. I'm not going to go into that one, because that one's just incredibly stupid. And I haven't read I haven't watched Tucker Carlson's take on it, so I don't want to just jump the gun and be like, oh, well, this guy's an idiot. Tucker Carlson clearly knows what he's talking about. And then turns out I watch it later and Tucker Carlson doesn't know. The legal argument on birthright citizenship, I say this is him in 2011, literally saying, I've looked at the legal arguments against birthright citizenship, and they are not very good. Good for Ted Cruz. He's still going to beat Beto O'Rourke. Yeah. AdvancedJusticeLA.org. I'm sure that's a real reputable website, and I really care about. Mexico says children born there if U.S. parents are Mexican. U.S. says they should be there. They are not. U.S. says children born here of Mexican parents are U.S. Mexico says they're not. So who's right when both claim birthright citizenship? Well, that's a good question, my friend. And that's an argument that I have a feeling that we'll be finding out in the Supreme Court very shortly. This is not a battle that Democrats want to fight, especially now that we stack the Supreme Court with conservative judges. Good coffee. Red, White, and Blue 1776 makes a good point. Even if your interpretation of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that is that people born, it does raise the question, why are non-citizens protected by the Constitution? Because they shouldn't be. The Constitution is for American. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all that should only apply to American citizens. And you're lucky that you have the right to due process when you get over here, which I do support. I do think they have the right to a fair trial and a fair shake, and I do think due process is important, but you're lucky that you have it, because we don't have to give you that right. We don't have to give anybody rights that we don't want to, but we fight for those. So, grow up. Well, this insane birthright citizenship law, it's not a law. It's not being proposed as a law. It's being enacted through executive order. Potentially. Hasn't been done yet, so. But that's a dumb question. If you're clearly already born and grown up. I doubt Trump is going to, in that executive order, saying that anybody that's been born here already and is already considered a U.S. citizen, their right to be an American citizen has been stripped. This is moving. The idea usually of the executive order is moving forward from here. This is the way things are going to be and play out. To stymie and stop, people taking advantage of the system and coming over here and plopping out their anchor babies to, and it's for selfish reasons. They are doing it because they know, through past experiences at least, they don't know now because now they're learning, that they'll get a pathway to citizenship because people don't want to separate kids from their families, and obviously it's really hard to have an American citizen child and ship their parents home and be like, foster care. So that's dumb. That's a dumb question. I usually say that there's no such thing as a stupid question, but I'm wrong. That's a stupid question. I'm a senior in high school who has hardly paid attention to the foundational chapters of my AP government class. I am confident that I understand the inner workings of our government more than Donald Trump. No, you don't. You don't. Here's the thing. The man is a billionaire. So before he was even a politician, he had to deal with all of the red tape with the government and laws and regulations and how they work, how each agency works. What do you think? He just builds a hotel overnight? He doesn't have to answer anybody. He's just a billionaire who goes, I'm going to build a hotel here, and it's going to be big and beautiful, and nobody's going to fuck with me. No. There's proper agencies that you have to go through, like the EPA. Make sure that everything that you're doing is safe or is up to environmental standard codes. And there's a long. He knows what he's doing. He is well aware. And even if there are small parts that he doesn't understand, he's got people there, just like Obama, who are sitting there in his cabinet saying, yes, Mr. President, you can do this. No, Mr. President, you can't do that. It's been very clear on several occasions that Barack Obama had no fucking clue what he was doing, but was saved by his cabinet. So, no, you don't know more than Trump. You're just a dumb senior in high school who thinks she knows what is going on. You're probably a feminist. That picture won't be her very long. She'll be chopping her hair off and dyeing it blue. And posting crap like hashtag resist. And that's interesting. I don't know how to say the guy's name, Poseidon or whatever. He went back all the way to when the 14th Amendment was written and found a newspaper article where the people that wrote the 14th Amendment very clearly stated that aliens were not included in the interpretation of the 15th Amendment. And foreign diplomats and stuff like that, their children are not considered. And it wasn't until I think he said the 1960s that it for some reason people started interpreting it that way. I don't have the tweet pulled up, but it's very easy to go find. Newsweek here, cherry picking facts. And they're technically right. We're not the only country that offers birthright citizenship. It's 30 total, only 2 first world countries, and one of them is Canada. And the rest are like third world shitholes, so, what's it matter? But we are the only country that does this of any consequence. You might be able to... The thing is, Canada has very strict immigration policies, so getting up to Canada through the United States, that's where, basically, if an illegal alien comes from Mexico all the way up through the United States, they're going to have a very hard time getting through into Canada. Very hard. A very strict immigration policy. Very, 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 very strict citizenship requirements. And, it's of no consequence. Canada has a very low immigration number. Most people want to come to the States. And ours is a jumbled mess. So we might as well be the only ones that do it, but it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and say they're technically, on a technicality, they're right. He's wrong about that. So what? So what? So he's wrong about that? Okay. This is the typical Democrat thing. We have no argument. We have no way of fighting this. So let's find something that he's wrong about so we can go, oh, look, let's nitpick here. Actually, 30 countries in total, 28 of which are third world countries, have birthright citizenship. Can you believe this? Yeah, okay, fine. And they still haven't realized that it just doesn't work. End birthright citizenship. It's a shit show. Get rid of it. Thanks for a big nothing burger there, guys. Stellar reporting, Newsweek. You're definitely not fake news. Fucking idiots. Lenny! Okay, but in reality, how many of the people who are calling to end birthright citizenship can actually pass a citizenship test? Like 2, maybe? let's first of all, it's basic civics. Now I know that the liberals ended civics because they don't want anybody to really understand how our government's supposed to work because they like to work outside the bounds of our government, and so understand that maybe Lenny isn't aware, but it's very basic stuff. It's questions about how our government works and stuff like that. Very, very easy stuff. It's not hard. You can go online and actually look up a citizenship test, and you'll find out Lenny's I'm assuming he's not one of the people that can pass a citizenship test, and he knows it. Ivana Trump wasn't a U.S. citizen until 1988. She gave birth to Don Jr. in 1977, Ivanka in 1981, and Eric in 1984. Let's cancel their birthright citizenship first, and while you're at it, deport anchor baby Trump as well. All right, so let's go ahead and say that. So, are you delusional? Nobody is calling for to strip anybody's citizenship. This is moving forward. This is moving forward. I don't know how else. I literally don't know how to explain it any simpler. From the point that executive order is signed on, it ends. It would be idiotic to turn around and go through everybody's birth records and find out whose parents weren't citizens here and strip them of their citizenship status, adding those people to the already exponentially large amount of illegals we already have here. You're using non-arguments because you have no solutions to these problems. The Democrats have no solutions to these problems. It's why they're going to get hammered in the midterms, because they don't have any solutions to these problems. And they get mad at Republicans for saying, well, we're going to do something about immigration. Because that's what the American people overwhelmingly want. Like 60% of people recognize there is a severe... They don't all agree on how to handle it, but they recognize that there is a severe problem on our southern border. So, you're an idiot. Moving on. When our focus is limited to our pain and suffering, we aim towards pleasure. Golden Tate, Birthright. Okay, cool. I don't know what she's trying to say. Good for you, Heather. At least this is a good point. And I'm sure that this person, Georgia Nicole, is probably for birthright citizenship. And I do think that's a valid question. Finally, we get to somebody that I don't think is an idiot. I think that's a very important thing that we should be asking the president, and that is what I think the media should be focused on. All right, is how are we going to determine citizenship through birth and such and things like that? How if we're planning on fixing birthright citizenship, how? What is our plan to define it? I think that's a very good question, and I won't call you an idiot because you're right. That is a good question. Me personally, I think it's very simple. If an American citizen, or I'd even be willing to say, for the sake of argument, if somebody is in the process of their citizenship, they paid, they're just waiting in line, and they're here on a visa or whatever, and they're just waiting for that to happen, go ahead and give their children, and we pretty much know we're just waiting for the process to finalize, go ahead and give their children citizenship. It saves everybody the issue of them, they've already paid all that money, and they've gotten here, and they're finally citizens, and now they've got to pay for their children to become citizens. I think stuff like that needs to be thought about. I think that's, I think if you snuck in the country illegally and you had a child, or to have your child, which is very evident, No. I think that there's a lot of compromises too that can be made. Like if a family has been here for a while, they're not technically here illegally, but they're here on work visas, and the family's here, and and the husband's working and as a citizen. If they decide that they're planning on becoming citizens and they want their child to be an American citizen on the day that, now they have to make, I would say that they have to make the decision on the day by the time the child's born, whether or not that they want that child to be an American citizen, because that person isn't here they're here on right to work visas. They're here doing it right. They're paying taxes. They're paying into the system. Let them make that decision if they're planning on because again, if they're planning on going to become citizens, etc. Need to make sure that it's not a huge hindrance to them. You don't want it to bankrupt them as well. If these people are here, they're here on work visas and they're doing well, and they want to become citizens, and they've been saving up money and they're starting their family, and you don't want to bankrupt them. There's no point. That's just cruel. There's no reason to do it. The only other reason to do it is just to be spiteful. No need. There's ways to make compromises, and if Democrats would learn to get off their high horses and off their little pedestal and stop virtue signaling and come down and just have a conversation about this, there are a lot of compromises that can be made. All right, I was born in the U.S. to Indian immigrants. When I got the news, I was in the middle of planning a block walk. Over the past year, have worked hard in politics for the betterment of my country. I like to think that's the most American thing anyone can do. Nah. You're doing the same thing as all of us. Doing the same thing. You're fighting for your own cause. You're fighting for the wrong cause if you're for birthright citizenship. He also didn't say whether your parents were legal or illegal immigrants, which would obviously mean they immigrated here legally and became citizens, or they're renewing their visa all the time, whatever. Another non-argument. It's not really fighting for politics isn't really an American thing to do. What politics are you fighting for? You don't mention any of that. That for all I know, you could be fighting to implement communism in America. That's not a very American thing to do. You could be fighting to abolish the Electoral College. That's not a very American thing to do. To essentially strip millions of your fellow Americans of essentially their right to be represented by our voting system. Because if you strip it all away, at the end of the day, the California and New York City are going to decide all the elections. So you can say that all you want. You can think. I'd like to think that that's an American thing to do too. But without knowing what your politics are, nobody can really back you. And so 25 of those idiots who didn't ask questions about what your politics are stupid. And so are you. If you think it's acceptable to revoke an individual's citizenship due to their parents' legal status, I highly question your intelligence, morals, mental health, and racism. Here we go. Swear we have a fucking clown as a president. One like. It's probably you. So, let's just go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty in here. I do think it's acceptable, because I'm a citizen, and it's, my fundamental right as a citizen to have an opinion on this. But again, hold on, I forgot that important word in there, revoke. Nobody's revoking. You got it? This is moving forward. It's very simple stuff. It is impossible for Trump to do. It would be chaos. to strip people that already have benefited from birthright citizenship of their citizenship currently. This would be moving forward to stop the flow of people coming here, stop giving them an incentive to come here, because if you're a pregnant woman, you can make it across the border and plop your little baby on out, have your little anchor baby, boom, citizenship. So I'm not even going to bother, because obviously his intelligence is lacking, his mental health is very degraded. Calls of racism are just idiotic. It's about time people like him, got a fucking clue. Trying to end a person coming to the U.S. for the express purpose of having a child, thereby gaining access to all kinds of welfare perks at the American people's expense, is an emergency. How about the vacation birthing the Chinese are doing? Has to stop. I agree. So simple, I agree. We need to control the flow of people coming into our country. We have to. And for people that say, what about all the illegal immigrants? They came on the boats a long time ago. All the immigrants from Europe, they still came legally. They came over on a boat, they signed a little book on Ellis Island, came in, became citizens. They did it the right way, as the way they should. Okay, so we're going to start regurgitating this crap, because the left can't meme, so they just have to write crap. Like, why didn't you just write that? Why did you have to type it up, take a picture of it, and post it? It's just stupid. The left can't meme. Constitution doesn't grant birthright citizenship except by common law, which means being born of a citizen. 14A includes all born as permanent legal residents on our territory. Don't be so silly as to pose a challenge and end the convo prematurely. No, and that's right. I think it should be a conversation. The problem is the left won't let it be a conversation. It will just be a bunch of delusional half-wits standing up at podiums saying, it's racist, it's probably homophobic, and somehow transphobic, and somehow xenophobic, and I just can't, where's my pink pussy hat? Jesus Christ. Do a few more of these and then I'm done. Can't do this. Oh, that's it. Anyways, this video has gone on a lot longer than it probably should have, but I had fun making it. I'll be making more. I'll probably make a couple today. There's a lot of things going on that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to kind of zero in on this. Talk about this a little bit because I had fun reading this. Mine will be up here on this list. When I post my video up, I'm obviously going to use the hashtag, as I always do. So I'll be using hashtag Birthright Citizenship and, probably something like, hashtag no anchor babies or something like that. So, hope y'all have a good night. I'll be seeing you later. I'll hopefully have something new for you here in a few hours as well.